It's quite a story, and the jurors had to really parse a lot of information. I want to bring in Caitlyn Becker. Caitlyn has followed this case very closely. She's a senior reporter for thedailymail.com. She's with me now live. I think a lot of people were wondering why we'd have heard the story before, but this was trial 2. And Caitlyn, trial 2 was very different. What were the elements that were so much more significant that led to these convictions, whereas they were deadlocked in 1?
Well, Ashleigh, the first difference is something that you just mentioned, this alleged drugging in the 1 case and I guess proven drugging in the 2 convictions. In the first trial, the victims weren't allowed to suggest that they were drugged. And in the second trial, they were allowed to tell that part of the story, which I think made an impact on the jury. In addition, Scientology was kind of a supporting role in the first trial, and they had an outsized role in the second trial. The judge allowed in different expert witness testimony to come and talk about how the church impacted how the victims dealt with the assault. A lot of questions initially were raised, and I'm sure were raised in the minds of the jurors in both trials, why the victims waited so long to report these allegations. And in the second trial, we really got to dive into the fact that the victims claim that it was the church who not only tried to convince them that they were not actually assaulted, but then effectively seemingly punished them for coming forward and then effectively silenced them. So those were the 2 main differences, and they had a huge impact on the verdict.
So sentencing, that is a wallop of a sentence, 30 to life. Do we know when this is going to happen? And he's no longer free. He's been out on bail all this time, but not now.
Not now. After the verdict was read, I think he was considered a bit of a flight risk. So he's been remanded into custody, which is where he will stay up until sentencing. We don't have an exact sentencing date set just yet, but there is a hearing scheduled for August 4th. So we could see sentencing sometime on that day, perhaps, or it could be a procedural hearing. We're not sure just yet.
You know, big stars don't often get convicted like this, so this is quite alarming to see this kind of thing, especially with such a serious sentence. I'm going to come back to this in a moment, Caitlyn, and I'm actually going to speak to one of the witnesses in this trial who came in to talk about her many decades with the Church of Scientology and her almost decade as an executive, I think the third highest ranking, one of the third highest ranking executives. But before I do this, there's some other sort of big Hollywood news involving a big, splashy name, Armie Hammer. I think a lot of people have been wondering what is going to happen with Armie Hammer and all those allegations that have been swirling around of like really violent sexual misconduct. What was the resolution on this?
Well, it's a big fat nothing, Ashleigh. Armie Hammer is not going to face any kind of charges for alleged sexual assault from an incident in 2017. This week, the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office declined to prosecute Hammer based on the fact that there was just insufficient evidence for them to get a guilty verdict. I mean, the DA's office, as you know, they don't take on cases they think they're going to lose. And after exhaustive research and investigation, they just couldn't come up with enough evidence that they think that they could get a guilty conviction in a court of law beyond a reasonable doubt. And this is so similar to what happens in so many sexual assault and rape cases. It often comes down to he said, she said, and that's a risk that you necessarily do not want to take with a jury. There is not a lot of hard evidence. There are not a lot of eyewitness testimonies. There is a reason why these cases are so rarely prosecuted and you so rarely get a conviction.
Yeah, and you know, he's, I think, saying that this is time for me to sort of reclaim my name. Caitlyn, you know how Hollywood works and public branding, et cetera. He did have some pretty successful work after a lot of this ugliness began. I think Call Me By Your Name was pretty successful. He was in that movie. But does he have a shot at sort of reclaiming the, you know, the star power that he once had?
You know, what's interesting about Armie Hammer is in his case, he wasn't necessarily beloved by fans. People did kind of mock him. I think he rode his very attractive face as far as he could on camera. And then after these allegations, particularly from this victim, who is the one whose Instagram account initially leaked those messages, those purported messages between Hammer and other women about BDSM and rape fantasies and cannibalism, I don't know if the public and Hollywood will be so willing to allow someone like him to bounce back. He doesn't have a very storied career. I mean, Danny Masterson and Armie Hammer are two completely different situations. Masterson, who, yes, was convicted, has been in the public eye since he was a child. People love that 70s show. Hammer, I don't know if he can bounce back. I don't think he has the fan base.
Let me ask you about another, again, big Hollywood headline. We've probably heard this one a billion times, but we're hearing it again. Bill Cosby is back in the news. And again, it's about sexual assault on women. A woman has come forward, Victoria Valentino, former Playboy centerfold, saying that he drugged her and raped her in 1969. And she's saying, I'm coming forward now because I was inspired by E. Jean Carroll and the lawsuit that she just prevailed in New York against Donald Trump. So what's the story of Victoria Valentino?
Well, Ashleigh, with Victoria Valentino's case, I think what's really interesting here is that Cosby has managed to evade any sort of real consequences for the allegations that have been leveled against him. And as you said, there have been about 1 billion at this point. Even the criminal conviction has been overturned. But the inspiration from this more recent case was last year, a very similar case. It was an incident from 1975. The girl was 16 years old, and she claimed that at the Playboy Mansion, she was sexually assaulted by Cosby. And a jury, they ruled in her favor and awarded her $500,000. So maybe the tide is turning for Cosby. So between that and this pretty damning clip from a documentary that popped up because Cosby was a regular at the Playboy Mansion, I want you to take a look at it.
No, keep playing. I just want to see if the whistle was working, that's all.
Bill Cosby would come in if he had business in town. In some cases, this was like a little boutique hotel where we catered to exactly what everybody wanted.
I mean, you're looking at something like that, and you can sort of see how these situations unfolded. So we'll have to see how Victoria Valentino's case, her civil case, levels out, and if she's going to get a similar result to the one last year.
All right. Well, lots to report on tonight. Caitlyn Becker, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ashleigh.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.